Okay, first off, I'd just like to show of hands, who thinks that organic, healthy food is way overpriced and too expensive? Okay, so all you are gonna like this speech. My name is Zack Williams, obviously as you heard, and I am proposing that diets consisting of poor quality food is responsible for the high levels of obesity in America. The first point I would like to make is just the overall prevalence of fast food is promoting a low quality diet among Americans. Now, just a few background statistics. In today's society, 2/3 of US adults are overweight or obese, along with 1/3 of school-age children, and 1/4 of children aged 2 to 5. Just for time's sake, and to keep this short since we only have 5 minutes, I'm going to focus on McDonald's. There are over 200,000 McDonald's stores in the US alone, and just last year they made over $160 billion in revenue. And since 1970, that has been an 8.6% increase when they started at $6 billion. To put this into perspective, the entire fresh produce and fruit industry wholesalers, there's 5,000 distributors and they only made $70 billion last year in revenues. The low quality, high calorie density food provided by these stores increases sodium, sugar, and fat intake in American diets, and that obviously leads to high levels of gaining weight and obesity, and it can also lead to other diseases such as high cholesterol, heart disease. The second point I would like to make is eliminating price disparities with food will aid in reducing obesity levels. Obviously, everyone agrees with me that healthy organic food is much more expensive, and obviously a lot of people can't afford it. So just a quick example, I was looking through the ads this morning, and a 2-liter bottle of soda cost 89 cents at Albertsons, while a bottle of orange juice the same size cost around $4. Obviously, families in low-income areas where we see the highest levels of obesity can't afford the higher level organic foods. They're kind of forced to go towards lower end fast foods, convenience stores, which is why a lot of people are much more inept to buy a $1 cheeseburger instead of 3 apples for 99 cents. A way I feel like we can combat this is reducing the prices, obviously, of healthier foods by subsidizing the fresh fruit industry, as well as possibly even taxing unhealthy foods such as high sugared sodas or fast foods, kind of to deter people from buying or purchasing these, and kind of pushing them towards maybe purchasing healthier foods. A study I found, which was presented by Dr. Univer in a UC Davis presentation, she mentioned in one of the studies actually showed that just a 10% decrease in the prices of fruits and vegetables led to a 2 to 5% increase in consumption in low quality households, which is where mainly a lot of them lack those in their diet, as well as not even just reducing the prices, even just the use of coupons even increase it up to 10%. The last point I would like to make is diet alone is more important than exercise alone. And like a lot of people, you hear New Year's resolution, you want, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym more, I'm gonna get fit, I'm gonna run more, I'm gonna do this. But a lot of people actually don't know that diet is sometimes more important. In a study I found by Foster, Schubert, Alfano et al., they did a 12-month study, intervention study, where they studied a group of people and they sent them, all the participants, they went to dietitians, and they were split up into 3 separate groups: a diet-only group, an exercise-only group, and a diet and exercise group. And obviously the diet and exercise group showed the best results, but when you compare the diet alone compared to the exercise alone, the diet alone group over the 12-month period saw a decrease of 7.2 kilograms, which is roughly around 16 pounds, while the exercise alone group only saw a decrease in 2 kilograms, which is around 5. So after listening, I hope all of you agree that we should definitely increase the quality of our food in this country, and thank you for your time.
All right, Zach, at the beginning of the speech, the audience survey I think is fine. You've got some statistical information about McDonald's that I think is interesting, a little bit of a cost comparison. But it's not clear to me if your argument is about the price of food, about the choices that people make, or about the desirability of controlling our diets, some of which might be controversial and some of which aren't all that controversial at all. So I'm not exactly sure why it counts as an argument. The notion that diet and controlling your calories is good for you and having some impact over that, nobody disputes that. The key information in your speech seems to be focusing on what the costs of those things are. You've got the one comparison that you make, for instance, between the soda and the orange juice, and then you also had a statistic that talked about how decreasing the price of a particular product resulted in increased consumption of those fruits and vegetables. And I thought, okay, there's the connection that you need to be making here. In essence, the argument seems to be that the fast food industry or the prepared food industry has some economic advantage over the over healthy foods that is causing the problem. That's, I think, where your argument ultimately is, and it needs to be a little bit more clearly stated at the beginning that that's the point that you're trying to make. There's not really a preview of what the supporting claims are going to be that's distinct. You've got a chain of arguments, but the chain, I can't detect what the pattern is. I'm going to have to put this together myself as I'm listening to what you're talking about, and I think you want to put it together for us a little bit more effectively so that we see things the same way you see them. I did think that you did a very nice job citing your evidence early on. Like I said, you had some good factual data and examples on McDonald's and the price of foods. I thought that was okay. You cited some expert testimony and some studies on those particular issues. I'm not always clear on what inference, though, you want us to draw from those issues. At one point, you talked about maybe there are ways that we can possibly address this issue, maybe a tax on foods to make bad foods seem less desirable. That would be a clear claim of fact to argue that an increased tax on high sugar or high fat foods would substantially reduce obesity. That would be a clearer claim of fact than what you have here, which I think kind of dances around a whole variety of issues, but I'm not sure that they necessarily take up the controversial position, whereas that would take a controversial position. I think you do a very nice job speaking to the audience, and you seem to know the concepts pretty well, but explaining and summarizing your argument is not quite as distinct. Although I thought you had a good exit line, I'm still, like I said, a little uncertain as to what the just of the argument is, that we need to be adjusting the price of food, that there's something illegitimate about the way these foods are done, that a tax would change things, that people refuse to eat the foods that are good for them because of pricing. I think there are claims there that would be a little bit clearer if that was the focus of your argument. All right, thank you.